Hello, everyone. All right, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Let me just make sure we are good here in the group and everyone can hear and see me. Say hi, guys, as you join us, as you pop in. Give me a hashtag live if you're with me live. Give me a hashtag replay if you are joining in on the replay. Just getting my thing up here so that I can make sure I can see everybody. And see all of your questions, comments. Hello, hello. All right. Good to see you guys here live. Let me just make sure we're good over here, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. Just give me like 2 seconds here. I think we should be pretty good. All right. Let everyone know we are here. Okay. All right. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. Wherever you are tuning in here in the world. Wanted to come in here Wednesday with our sales training for you guys. Really, really excited to hop in here in chat with you guys. I wanted to talk today about the highest converting sales strategy on the planet. I think that this is going to be quite a topic here. So let me just see. Hi, happy Wednesday. Glad you're here joining. Say hi in the chat, guys. Don't be afraid to communicate here with me. Okay, so what I want to do today, I want to share the highest converting strategy with you. And then I also, yay, Lisa, I'm so glad you were able to make it. And then I also want to I want to go into this strategy with you guys a little bit because I think it is an important topic to talk about. Okay. The first thing that I want to say is that there's a million ways you guys can do business, right? There's a million things that you could be doing in your business, right? We can do marketing. Hi, Regina. We can market, we can funnel, we can set up courses, we can do master classes, we can do webinars, we can put social media content and posts, we can send emails. There's a million things you can do in your business. However, there's only a few things that actually make money in your business. And there's a huge difference with marketing and sales. Those are two entirely different things. And I always like to tell people that the two strategies are not created equal. Marketing and sales are not created equal. They're entirely different strategies. They're entirely different things, right? The outcome and the results that you get from each of those activities are entirely different, right? I have a lot of people that come to me. I mean, we're in 200 DMs a day. We are talking to our people. And over, when we ask people, what is your sales system? How do you make money? Not once a week, not every month or every quarter or every time you launch or whenever you need to make money, but like, how do you make money in sales, like new money in your bank account and new clients in your programs every day? How are you generating daily sales in your company? Most people are not. But when I ask people their sales system, they're like, well, I go live every week. I put out like 5 pieces of content a day on like 7 platforms. I go live with my podcast. I send like 5 emails a week. I create like sales pages and I just like create posts and send people there. And usually when we ask people, what is your sales system? How are you making money in your business? We get things like that. Every single thing that I just listed off is a really good activity. However, it's a marketing activity. Not even one of those is a sales activity. Nothing I just listed is a sales activity. And what that means is you could do that stuff, all the things I just listed, you could do those every day, 8, 10, 12, 24 hours a day, 365 days out of the year and not make any money or not make more money, right? Because those are not sales activities. It's a marketing. That's all marketing, right? And so what I really want to make sure you guys are doing, number one, we want you to be focusing on sales activities, right? Sales and marketing, 2 different things. They each produce a different result. Marketing is what's going to help you build your audience. It's going to build trust with your audience. It's going to nurture your audience. It's going to provide value to your audience. It's going to let the world know that you exist, right? And it can start to form some relationships. That's marketing. If you want money in your bank account, a financial transaction, and you want new clients that are paying you inside of your programs, then you need to do sales activities, right? Now, most business owners don't start a business because they are excited to do sales. And I totally get that. Being a sales trainer and a sales coach for the last 2 decades, I totally understand that most business owners did not start their business with a big passion to sell. However, I think it's also equally important to understand that if you run a business, your number one skill and your number one focus needs to be to sell. If we're not selling, we're not making money. And a business that doesn't make money is a dying business. It's an expensive hobby, right? So there's a million things you could do in your business. And there's only so many sales activities, like things that actually produce, the new client that's paying you, the new money in your bank account that you get to celebrate and that funds your lifestyle. There's only a few things, but I just want to talk about one of those things today. Okay. And before we dive into this, if you guys are not registered for the Sales Performance Multiplier Workshop, I'm highly going to recommend, if you are not doing 50K to 60K months, I'm going to highly recommend that you get in that workshop. I'm also going to recommend, if you are a CEO or a coach consultant and you have sellers on your team, or you have a seller, that you and your seller register for that workshop, okay? Because we're going to really be diving into how to multiply your sales and create rapid sales growth compared to whatever you're doing now, okay? So it's going to be really important. We can drop the link in the chat below. Just type workshop in the chat below if you need to register for that. We don't want you guys to miss that, okay? Okay, so the number one highest converting strategy on the planet is sales calls. Now, I want to talk about this for a minute because so many people refuse to do calls, or they don't want to do calls. And I want to talk about this. I have been a sales coach and a sales trainer for 2 decades. For the first 15, maybe 12, for the first 12 years of my business, I did over 100,000 hours of sales calls. Over 100,000 hours of me on the phone doing sales calls, talking to humans. That was the first 12 years of my business. That's all I did every single day in my business, every day, all day. That's it. I was on the phone. Okay. My calendar there was no room for anything else. If I was not coaching clients, I was on a sales call. The last 5, 8 years, I haven't really done sales calls because I have a sales team. And so I don't do any of the sales in my company anymore. I have sellers, and the sellers do it all. However, my sellers were getting on calls in the beginning. They're not right now, but we will if we have to. And they did. What I want you to understand is, for the first 12 years of my business, I was the CEO of my company doing sales calls. I think that it's really, really important to understand there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in the coaching and service space right now, where people are like, you don't have to do sales calls. And you don't. And you don't. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, right? You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But there's this big hype that you can make millions of dollars and never get on a call with anybody. What I want to do is clarify this for you. I'm a straight shooter, guys. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm a straight shooter. I'm literally just going to tell you how it is. I've been in business a long time. I have 5 multi-millionaires that hire me, and I'm training their sales teams. I know what I'm talking about. I have the inside scoop on everything. I'm not talking theory. I'm talking 20 years in practice. Here's what I'm going to tell you. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But if you are a business owner that is not making the amount of money that you want to make every single month, predictably, consistently, repeatedly, easily, if you're not creating the amount of money that you want, like this, like clockwork, I'm going to encourage you to be open to getting on sales calls with your audience. I also think that in today's space, we have more people than ever who are smart, they are skeptical, and they're very savvy. They don't have to invest with you. They don't have to work with you. They don't have to do anything, right? Like they can Google stuff. There's billions of people just giving stuff away for free, so they can go get stuff for free. They can do their research on you. Like they can compare you to other people. There's so many people online right now, and there's so much going on. And by the way, that doesn't mean that there's not opportunity for you to create a lot of money. What it means is the way that people are buying today is not the way they were buying 6 months ago. Mark my words on that one. The way that people are making buying decisions today is different from even just 6 months ago. The thing that your ideal client wants today, that's top of mind today, is not what was top of mind for them 6 months ago. We are in the middle of a recession. We have wars going on. We have people losing jobs, getting laid off. We have inflation. People are still investing, but not the same as they previously were. And so the reason I share this is because if you're going to run a business in the online space and you want to be profitable and successful, then you have to also be adaptable, and you have to know when to pivot. You have to know when it's not business as normal. If you are still selling and marketing yourself the same way you were last year or 6 months ago, you're probably noticing that you're not getting as many results, right? You're probably noticing the results are not that great. You're working a lot harder than you had to 6 months or however many months ago. We're all experiencing this. You have to understand that the way people are buying today is not the same, and so you cannot sell the same. And the reason I think sales calls are so phenomenal, you guys, is because in today's space, because there's so many people and everyone has so many options. Everybody's got so many options and choices. They're not so quick to make that investment. They're not so quick to jump into your program. They want to check it out a little bit. And so whether it's you doing this or a seller on your team, somebody needs to be able and willing to get into a conversation with somebody and discuss their path in your program. If you're not doing that and you refuse to do that, then I would ask you, how badly do you want to reach your goals? If you're not reaching the goals you want and you're also not willing to get on sales calls, then how bad do you really want the goal that you say you have that you want? And you have to ask yourself, if I'm not willing to do this, then what am I willing to do? Right? Because I have so many, again, we talk to 200 people a day, and we have people doing 6 figures, 5 figures, 7 figures, and they've hit a plateau, or they've hit a breaking point, or they were making this much and now they're only making this much, and they've noticed that something has changed, but they're still doing things the same way that they were, even though that's not working. And I want you guys to understand, all in life history, there's never been a strategy in this entire world ever that converts higher and faster than a sales call. So if you're someone with an urgency to make more money and you're refusing to get on sales calls, that's a huge problem, right? Because there's not another strategy on the planet that converts faster or higher than a sales call. There's no other strategy on the planet. Nothing. Not a single thing. There never has been. Sales calls has always been the highest converting strategy. And you can mingle these into other things that you're doing, right? You can have an application to pre-qualify people, and then they get on a sales call with you, right? You can have people come to a masterclass, a webinar, a workshop, and then you can invite them to an application and then a sales call with you. The way that we teach sales in my program with my clients is that we're not getting on sales calls with anyone that's not qualified, okay? So I think what happens and why people don't want to do sales calls is everybody wants automation. Everybody wants hands-off passive. And I've been doing this 2 decades, and I don't know a single millionaire or billionaire that has a passive business. I work with them all. I either train their sales teams or they're my coaches. And I don't know a single millionaire or billionaire that is hands-off passive in their business. Okay? It's silly to think that that's what this is. It's silly to think you don't have to do the work. It's silly to think, oh, I could just not be part of my business. Like, yes, you can scale and you can hire a team. And yes, you can set up automation. And yes, you can set up technology. But all of that is going to require hefty work. And then if you're using all of those things, then your things have to change because technology changes and platforms change and algorithm changes. There's never a set it and done. It's never one and done and you're just on the beach somewhere enjoying life. There's always going to be work that you have to put in as the business owner, always. And so this idea that you cannot even be making 50K a month, 20K a month, 10K a month, and have a passive business is silly. The people, that's smoke and mirrors, guys. The people that are teaching that, I'm friends with a lot of them, and I'm going to tell you that they're working their butts off in the back end. They are hustling. They are throwing thousands and thousands of dollars towards advertising and team, and they're hustling. And honestly, they're not bringing home nearly as much as they're posting on the internet. Their profit margins are extremely low. And I will also tell you that they worked really hard to even be able to have a business that's half automated. It took years. So if you're someone that is like chasing this shiny, like, I want a business where I can live on the beach and like never have to work and like I just make millions of dollars. Okay, unless you're Gary Vee, how are you going to make that happen? Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. Gary Vee works his ass off. He's one of my mentors. Nobody's doing that. Everyone is working 10 times harder today than you ever had to before just to maintain things because of the way the economy is and because of the way algorithm and all the things online are. No one is like passive today. People that were passive and fully automated months ago, notice how they're back. They're going live all the time. They're showing up all of a sudden. They're willing to get on calls. They're doing more webinars. They're just showing up more. What I want you guys to understand is there's never been a strategy that works as good as sales calls. It's the fastest path to get where you're trying to go. Rather you're a CEO and you're doing 5K months and you want to do 10K months. Rather you are just getting started. Maybe you're a seller and you want to up your earnings inside of the company you're working for. Get on sales calls. Get on sales calls, right? I think that it's just a matter of like, what are you willing to do to get what you want? And if you're definitely wanting to hire sellers in your company, then you got to increase your revenue, right? And you also need to get your sellers on phone calls, okay? I don't think it's a bad thing. We close in the DMs. We close from email, but we also make a lot of money, right? We also make a lot of money. And if we had to, and I want to make that clear, if we had to, we would do sales calls. If I had to get on sales calls to reach our revenue goals, or for whatever reason, I would do it. Okay? So someone who's been in business for 2 decades, I work with the top millionaires in our coaching space. I train their sales teams. I have my own companies. For someone who's been doing this for 2 decades, I'm telling you, I would get on sales calls today if I had to. So it's kind of silly to say, I'm not willing to do that, or I'm not willing to hire a seller and train them so they can do that. Instead, I'm just going to keep creating content, setting up funnels, and I'm just going to keep pushing and pushing this way, even though it's not working. It doesn't make sense. Now, there's a lot of things I think that people have to say about sales calls, but I want to share a couple things because I think it is really important to understand why I'm so big on, I'm not saying you have to do sales calls. I'm saying you should do sales calls. I want to clarify. I'm not saying you have to. You don't have to do anything. You can stay right where you are. I'm just telling you that you should do sales calls, okay? Especially if you're not where you want to be financially. It's silly to rely on the algorithm right now because the algorithm isn't supporting our billionaires. It's not going to support us, right? Gary Vee's he's pumping out multiple pieces of content a day across every platform because he has to. So unless you're Gary Vee with an audience and a reputation and a reputable brand like Gary Vee, you should be doing sales calls, right? Because that's how you're going to increase your revenue so you can start to scale. So there's a couple things. Look, if you talk to 5 people a day, okay, if you spoke to 5 qualified leads a day, you would close 1 or 2 sales from that. How do I know that? Well, I've done that for 20 years. I'm training my millionaires sales teams to do that. And I have sellers who do that. So what I'm telling you is business is a numbers game. Play the numbers, guys. If you talk to 5 qualified leads today, you would close 1 or 2 of them. Most of you don't want to get on the phone. You want to pump out content. You want to drive the audience you have to some kind of automated thing, and it's not converting today, right? So I want you to just understand it's a very simple math. If you just spoke to 5 qualified leads today, you would close a sale or 2. So ask yourself, wow, do I want a sale or 2 today? Would that be helpful for me? Would that be beneficial for me? Is that the goal today? Like, I want to actually close a sale? If that's the case, then get on a sales call. Go talk to 5 people today that are qualified. Okay? And what we find is most people that come to us and they're like, I'm not making as many sales as I want. Number one, they're not doing sales activities. They're marketing. They're just doing marketing all day. They're marketing all day long. They don't have any problem with marketing, creating content, showing up, marketing, but they're not doing any sales. They're not talking to any humans. They're not having any sales conversations. They're not doing sales activities. So a lot of the time when we are talking to people and they're like, yeah, I'm not generating the sales I want. And you could be doing 20K, 50K, 40K, 60K a month, and maybe you want to do 100K a month, right? You could be doing nothing and you want to do 5,000 a month. You could be doing 5 and you want to do 10. I don't care what the number is. If you're not generating consistently, predictably, and easily, the amount of money you want to be making every single month, you have to look at what you're doing in your business for 90% of the day. What is 90% of your time going to? Most of you are just marketing, and that's just not going to happen now, right? Like, you have to do sales activity. So if you were to talk to more people, you'd close more sales, period. Like, we could end the show right here. If you talk to more people, you'll make more sales. The problem is most of you are not talking to enough people. You're just not speaking to enough people. In my programs, my clients are talking to 100 people a day. They're bringing in 20 new leads a day, and they're in 100 conversations a day. If you're not doing that, you're not generating enough sales, guaranteed. Unless you have a massive audience and you have massive, like, thousands of dollars going towards advertising and hundreds of people joining your email list every single day, right? Unless you have a massive audience that's highly, highly engaged, you are not generating the sales that you want with what you're doing. And that's usually because you're marketing, you're not doing sales activities. Okay? Most of the people, and again, we talk to 200 people a day, and I would say 90% of them, they're not reaching their goals. And when we talk to them, they're not talking to enough people. So you just have to ask yourself, it's very simple math. How many people, how many humans are you talking to a day in your business? Because if you think just sending an email, a mass email, or just putting out a bunch of content on social media, guys, if you follow Gary Vee and you listen, less than 2% of your audience sees even a piece of content you put out today. Maybe it's 3%, less than 3 or 2%. It's not very much. So for those of you pumping content out and then sitting back, twiddling your thumbs, being like, where's the sales? Less than like 2 or 3% of the people in your audience even see one piece of content. It's pointless. Like, we put out 3 pieces a week, and that's it. That's not how we generate sales. The sales that we are generating are happening in our conversations, in the DMs, in our private conversations. Okay. And yeah, we get sales from other activities, but not very much, right? If we look at my overall income, 80 to 90% of our revenue comes from conversations, not content. Okay. Most of our stuff that's not where it's coming from. It just isn't. Do we do workshops? Yes. Do we sell from our workshops? We convert in our workshops higher than some of my millionaire clients. I am a super salesperson, so we convert really well, but I don't want to be launch dependent. And I don't want to say, oh, I only make money when I launch. So what are we doing when we're not launching? Well, we're in conversations every day, right? That's the thing, is a lot of you guys do make good money when you're doing something, like when you're doing a big launch or you're sending a whole bunch of promotional content. You're doing a lot of stuff, right? My team spends 4 hours a day having conversations, and we close a minimum of a sale a day. We don't work that hard. Right? Like, yes, we work hard. I don't want to say you're not going to work hard, but we're working hard on very easy things, the right things, right? We're not like over here doing this and over here and over there, and we have 20 things on our list a day. We have 3 things on our list every day, and we run them like well-oiled machines, and we close sales every single day. There for 8 years, there has not been a day that's gone by that a sale has not happened in my company, right? And that's because we're not worried about marketing. We're not worried about trends. We're not chasing sexy smoke and mirror strategies. We're doing sales activities all day, every single day, right? And that's a huge difference. And people don't want to do it. They want to market. You want to put content out and magically all the clients show up. You want to send an email to your list and hundreds of people buy your program. Like it's so unrealistic, right? Like unless you have a massive, engaged, qualified audience, that's not happening. Right? I have millionaires where that does not happen, right? I have clients who make millions of dollars, and they have to work really hard for that. So I want you to understand that if you get in conversations and talk to more people, you're going to make more money, period. And you're going to do it way faster, right? So inside of a sales conversation, guys, if you book a call, a sales call, I'm not talking about a strategy call. I'm not talking about a strategy call. I'm not talking about a coffee chat. I'm not talking about let's get to know each other. I'm talking about a business meeting, a sales conversation where 2 people have said, yes, I would love to talk about working with you. I would like to know what my path would look like. How do I get started? Let's have a conversation. That's a business meeting. When 2 professionals get into a sales conversation to discuss that path, you will close 50% of those calls. There is no other strategy that closes and converts at 50%. And that's average. So let me tell you what I mean by that. You could suck at sales and close 50% of the calls. So you can say, oh, Ann, I'm terrible at sales. If you're terrible, you can convert 50% of the calls. My clients, they convert anywhere from 85 to 90%. 85 to 90% of their sales conversations, they close. That's because we have a system, right? We have a framework and a system and a process, and there's things you need to have in place. You could suck at sales and convert 50%. When millionaire coaches hire me to train their sales teams are closing about 50 to 60% of the conversations they're having. That's very low average. Like, I'm not even impressed by it. It's kind of on the low end. We get them around 85 to 90%. Okay. So obviously there's things you need to have in place to do that, but I'm telling you that you can suck at it and convert 50%. So for those of you that want to increase your sales and you're not really generating sales every single week in your company, I promise you're not having sales conversations. Because even if you're not that good at them, if you have enough of them, 50% of them will convert and you will generate sales, right? So it's just, you have to play the numbers and you have to look at what are you doing with 90% of your day? When you're working in your business, what are you doing? I know what most of you are doing, right? You're creating content, you're putting out social media posts, you're emailing your list, you're scrolling your news feed, right? You're looking at what other people are doing, you're downloading free stuff that's popping up in your email and your inbox and your news feed, you're creating Canva images, you're building sales pages, you're probably building a website. I hear that all the time. Oh, I'm going to build my website and then launch my business. And it's like, what do you mean? Who's going to your website? You have no audience. Everybody's doing marketing and back end admin stuff. And all of those are $0 activities. Those produce $0 in your business. You can run a multi-million-dollar business with none of that. Okay. So again, there's a huge difference in marketing and sales. They're not the same thing. And also, the highest converting strategy is just to get on sales calls, talk to people. I mean, you're asking people to invest in you. Why wouldn't you take a few minutes to talk about them, right? Why wouldn't you take a few minutes to connect with people and talk to people if you're going to ask them to invest with you, right? So it just makes sense that you get on the phone. If you knew that, okay, if I talk to 5 people that are qualified, if I talk to 5 qualified people today, and I close 1 or 2 of those sales in my program, if you knew that you would do that, would you do it? I would, right? Well, I don't need to. My sales team are closing sales today. But I'm saying, if I worked in my business and I didn't have a sales team, which I didn't for 15 years, so you can do this yourself. But when I did it, that's all I did. I had a minimum of 10 sales calls a day. Okay. And I was closing multiple sales a day. I grew my one-on-one coaching business faster than anyone I knew in the industry. Even some of my mentors were like, I don't know how you just did that, because I just had conversations. I wasn't worried about the marketing and like getting out there and like creating tons of content and Canva images and building a website. Like, I got in conversations and I sold solutions to people. I made money, right? So I think that that's really, really important. The average conversion is 50% if you suck at selling. So if you're someone that's like, oh, this sounds really good, Anne, but like, I'm not really good at the converting side of it. Number one, you need to probably get sales training, right? But number two, even if you suck, you can convert 50%, right? And then you get better as you do it. The more people you talk to, the more confident you get, the better you get at this, and then your conversions go up. But if you don't do it at all and you're just like, I'm just going to keep pumping out content. Well, content, the algorithm isn't even supporting that right now. Nobody's content is being seen by hardly anybody. So that's really not a good strategy, right? If you're relying on your content and algorithm to put money in your bank so you can feed your family, it's not really a smart strategy right now, okay? Some of the benefits, guys, of doing sales calls, I think that it's really good practice. I think it's really good practice. If you are someone who is struggling with your messaging, okay, I hear this again. We talk to 200 people a day, and we hear a lot like, I'm just having a hard time communicating, like how I help people, why they should listen to me, like how do I help people, what I can help them do in my program, like just communicating. I'm just having a hard time like getting that out there so people can understand it. And I'm just like, I don't know what is top of mind for my client right now, right? Like if I asked each one of you here today or listening to this, if I asked each one of you, what is the number one thing that your client wants and needs more than anything in the world right now today that they will give you money to fix this problem? What is it? A lot of you don't actually know. You think you know. And usually you just say, oh, that's my services. It's what I do. That's what they need. It's what I do. But you haven't actually confirmed that and got it in their language. And you haven't actually had the conversation with that person to get that information. You're guessing. You're making an assumption, right? Well, they're in my group, or they got on my email list, or they downloaded my guides, so I'm pretty sure this is what they need. If you make assumptions in sales, you don't make very much money, right? You cannot make assumptions in sales. You got to go get to the source. You got to go actually talk to people, and you got to hear in their language, in their words, what it is they want and need from you and that they're willing to buy, or you get objections left and right. I have not had an objection in years. I do not get objections. And it's not some secret strategy that I'm doing. Yes, I have a process, but it's my skill set, right? I know how to communicate to people, and I know what my people want because I talk to them. And because we talk to them, I know where you live. I know how many kids you have. We know how many people live in your family. We know what your goals are. We know how much money you're making. We know how much money you want to be making. We know exactly what you do in your business. We know where you want to live, where you live right now. Like, we know these things because we're in the DMs talking to 200 people a day, and we're building relationship, and we're asking you how we can serve you. We're plugging you into free content, and then we're telling you, if you want our help, here's how we can help you. And if you don't, just stay connected, and keep binging our content. Right? So we're having these conversations because if you're not talking to your audience and you're guessing what they want, chances are you're not making very much money in your business. And people buy from they buy from brands they know, like, and trust. They have so many options today that if they don't have a relationship with you and they don't truly believe that you can help them, they're not buying from you. They're not going to buy from you. You will work your ass off and you won't make no money in this industry today because there's so many people and there's so much for people to choose from. You got to get it right, and you got to get it right fast. You have limited time to do that, or they're moving on, period. You got to know what it is you're so good at. And then you also need to know how to effectively communicate it. You can't stumble over your words and be something different every week and copy other people. There's nothing that's going to make you stand out about that. You won't close sales, right? If you want to make more money and you want to close more sales, these are the things you need to do. You've got to You got to stop investing in strategy, and you need to get your sales skill muscle built. And you need to know the difference between this is a sales activity and this is a marketing activity and this is a busy activity that's not going to get me anywhere. And you need to know where to put your time and focus. And then you need to learn how to effectively communicate to the way that people buy today. People are not responding to the way that people talked 6 months ago, the way that people sold 6 months ago. People are ignoring that today. Okay, they're like tone deaf. They're not listening to it anymore. You got to know how to talk to people. And one of the ways is, one, build your sales skill. And two, you got to have conversations with people. You need to go talk to your humans. You need to go talk to your people, and you need to ask them what they need. What do they want? What can you help them with? How can you serve them? And then you need to be really generous with your content. You need to give them some things that they need to show them that you have what they need. And here's a big side sales tip, guys. If the people you're talking to, if they cannot see themselves inside of your program doing the work, they won't invest. So again, it's like you have to understand sales. It's not marketing. So many of you are marketing to people, and then you're like, where are the sales? And I'm going to tell you, that's not working today. You have to know how to sell. You have to know how to effectively communicate. Your business will never make it through this recession if you don't do this. And a part of you building up some of that knowledge, it's not about go get a mentor and say, teach me your strategies. It's about go talk to people and have them tell you themselves instead of you guessing. Like, eliminate the guesswork, right? Speed up the time that it's going to take you to get where you're trying to go, right? You speed it up. Go talk to people. Get in conversations, because it's really good practice if you don't know how to communicate. If you're like, what should I say? How should I say it? What should my title be? Guys, that's so irrelevant. Go talk to your people. They will tell you what they'll buy from you. They'll tell you what they need. They'll tell you what they don't need. They'll tell you what they desire. They'll tell you where they're stuck. They'll tell you what they're sick of. They'll tell you every single thing you need to know to craft a solution and sell to them. And if you continue in this market, in this day and age right now, if you continue to avoid talking to people, you're just not going to get beyond where you are right now. It's just not going to happen. Right? I have 2 full-time sellers, and that's all they do all day, every day, is sell. Talk to people and sell. Talk to people and sell. Push them in my content. Serve them. Give them more content. Put them into our stuff. Give them value. Build a relationship. Build rapport. Talk to them. What do they need? What do they want? What can we do to help them? Right? And we're selling solutions. I have 2 people in my company doing this all day, every day. They don't do anything else. Right? And then there's people that aren't even making $5,000 a month, and they refuse to talk to people, and they just keep pushing content. There's so much benefit in doing sales calls. The other thing that's really, really good about them is there is not another strategy that converts faster or better. The next highest strategy that you could do that converts like the next highest is like a masterclass, or like a webinar, like something on Zoom where you teach for 30 or 45 minutes and then you sell. Those convert around 20 to maybe 30%. And then application. If you drive qualified leads to application, they close around 20 to 30%. Sales call is 50% minimum, and we can get you to 85 to 90%. Okay, so again, the warmer that your audience is, the warmer they are, the more qualified they are, the more nurtured they are, the better rapport and relationship they have with you or your seller, the higher they will convert. If you're trying to sell to cold people that don't even know you, you've never talked to, guys, it's not going to happen today. It's just not going to. You're going to struggle. You're going to financially struggle. So again, it's not business as usual, guys. And the thing is like, I say that, but at the same time, I'm literally doing the same thing today that I did 10 and 15 years ago in my business. Like 100%, I'm literally doing the same sales things. The only difference is I have team instead of me doing it, and we do it at higher scale. That's it. Everything is the same. We are doing the same things today I did 10 and 15 years ago to grow my business. I'm doing the same thing in my company that I'm teaching to the sales teams inside multi-million-dollar coaching companies. Sales is so easy. You know what's hard? Marketing. Marketing is hard. Sales is easy. Problem is, you guys are marketing. You're not selling. You're marketing. And marketing is hard because marketing is content, visibility, it's client attraction, it's growing your audience, it's building your brand, your recognition, it's letting people know you exist. It's building trust where people see your brand over somebody else's. That takes time. Marketing and building a brand takes time. And that's a lot of hard work. Sales is easy. You could do that today. You could start a business today and close sales. Sales is easy. The problem is you guys complicate it because you're trying to market and you think marketing is sales. And then you refuse to do actual sales activities, right? So again, you could struggle or you could stay stuck at like a plateau for a really long time and then you could snap your fingers and change it really fast. It comes down to a decision, okay? I also think sales calls are great because they don't require anything up front. There's no creation, right? I mean, you might have an application page if you drive people from application to sales call, or, maybe some kind of form to fill out before they get on the call with you would be smart, right? Like we have a huge qualification process I teach my clients. We don't get on phone calls with anybody that's not fully qualified. You just have to make sure that you're getting on the phone with the right people and you will convert those sales. You'll convert way more than whatever you're doing right now. And if you have sellers, or if you're doing like 10 to 30, 40, 50K a month and you want to increase that and do more, you should be hiring a seller at that stage of business. If you're doing 10 to 15K a month, you should have a seller. If you don't have a seller and you're making like $10,000, $20,000 a month and you don't have a seller in your business, we need to talk because you should have a seller. Like, we will train them for you in our program. We will train them. We will coach them. We will show them what my sellers are doing. Like, if you don't have a seller and you're making anywhere from 10 to 28,000 a month or more, that's silly. Okay. You should not be the person doing this. You can have a seller do this. Okay. You just got to go hire one. So I think that, chances are, guys, if you're not selling in your free content, you should be on sales calls practicing because it's coming down to you. If you're doing a lot of things, which a lot of you are working harder than I do, a lot of you are working a lot of hours, doing a lot of things, you're working really hard and you're not making much. And so it's really coming down to you, right? It's not the strategy you're using because those all work. It's coming down to you. It's probably your messaging, it's your energy, it's your consistency, it's your lack of focus. It's probably all of that. Your positioning, your messaging, you're probably not very consistent. You're probably doing a lot of marketing, not sales. Like, you probably just need practice and you need to build your sales skill. And when you do those things, right? When you do those things, naturally your sales will increase. Like, literally, naturally your sales will increase. I want to drop, if you guys have questions, I have about, let me see, what do I have? I have about five or so minutes. If you guys have questions, what I want to do real quick is just drop the link to our free workshop. It is all sales based. So if you guys are looking to increase sales, or if you have a seller and you're looking for, a seller or whatever to do this, let me drop the link below here for you guys, and you can go ahead and sign up for the free workshop. If you guys have questions, I will take a couple minutes of questions. If it's around anything we talked about here, go ahead and just drop those in the chat. And I'm just plugging this link in for you guys. If you are not registered for the free workshop, I would get registered because you're going to learn a lot about high-level sales, really adding rapid sales growth to your company. And this can be for you. If you have a seller, I would bring them with you. I think I spelled this right. That should be the link. But you can definitely bring your seller with you. Okay, let me just see what we have for any questions. Yeah, so Jana said, application to work with you, qualification, and a sales call. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do like an application. My recommendation is that, if you're going to have a sales call, you should qualify. Like, it's so silly. It's such a wasted opportunity. Guys, if you're going to do something, just do it right? That's my my brain does not work if things don't make sense to me. And what doesn't make sense to me is for me to take time out of my day to get into a conversation with someone that I haven't qualified. Like, if I haven't qualified you, there's no business us having a sales conversation. It's a waste of everybody's time. So yeah, you should definitely have an application or something. Like, if you have sellers, get them in the DM and have them qualify them, have them answer entry questions. There's a list of things that you could be doing to qualify people, so that when they get in a sales call with you, they're already ready to buy. You don't need to do so much hard work to get people, to get them over the finish line when you do this right. Okay. Let me just see. Awesome, Rochelle. I'm glad you're loving the training so far. Holly said, can you talk more about building the audience? Not on this call, Holly, but you're in our programs and we have a whole training on top of funnel. So definitely dive in there, get on a coaching call. If you need help with that, we'll have other trainings where maybe we talk more about that. But today we're talking about sales calls. Jana said, everyone is doing marketing. Nobody's doing sales. Yeah. Lisa said, so true. Yeah. Okay. Jana said, some examples of qualification questions. That's a tough one. We have all of that in our programs, but I can't just tell you. There's not like, it's specific to your business. They're not, you know what I mean? Like, we'd have to create some specifically for your business. You need to figure out what you need to know about your people to qualify them, right? So if I'm going to qualify someone, the way that the questions I ask people to come in my programs are much different than what you're going to ask people, right? Like, your qualifying questions are not going to be the same as my qualification questions, because we have different programs. We have different type of clients we work with. I am very strict on who I work with and what that looks like. So my questions are much different. What we do in my programs is we customize every system for you. So we have all kinds of systems. We have your top of funnel, which is growing your audience, the middle of your funnel, which is your database and nurturing and building trust and getting people ready to buy. We have the bottom of the funnel, which is where we actually have the conversations and we convert new sales into our bank account. We have touch points, we have qualification process, we have objection prevention, objection reversal, we have messaging, we have content schedule. We have so many systems. And we give you frameworks in our programs, but then we need to customize them so they work for you. It's not a cookie cutter, like, here's the questions you ask. We have to create that. Like, I would definitely recommend checking out the Sales Performance Academy training program, because if you guys don't know what to ask people to say, okay, this is like, if you don't know who your ideal client is, right, then it's going to be hard to sell. If you don't know what questions to ask that tells you this person is qualified versus this one is not, you're going to have a really hard time selling, right? Okay. I don't see any other questions. I know there's always a delay on Facebook, but what I'll do is I will come back. I will come back here into the chat. And if you guys have questions, I can come in and answer them for you guys. If I didn't answer them here, I will come back and do that. I did drop the link to the workshop below. So if you guys are not registered for that, I would get in there. If any of you are here and you really, really need help with your sales, rather it is your sales systems, your sales process, your messaging, growing your audience, nurturing and activating your audience, building a database that you work out of to generate daily sales, your messaging, your content, your schedule, like sales versus marketing, preventing objections, hosting sales conversations, or any kind of conversation. Maybe you have a seller and you want them to perform better. You want them to close more, convert more. If that's you, if you're listening to this and that is the type of thing you know you need help with, this is what I'm going to tell you. You can spend the rest of this year doing what you're doing and not come into 2023 any different. And then you could spend all of 2023 investing in strategy and courses and automation and funnels and this and that. My biggest piece of advice to everybody, this is what I give to everyone, and this is what I say to myself. If you are not closing, converting, selling consistently, repeatedly, the way that you want to be, and you kind of hit a breaking point, rather that is, I can't get past $0 or I can't get past 50,000 a month. If you are stuck somewhere and you just want to close more sales way easier, way more predictably, then I'm going to recommend that you apply to come into the Sales Academy program where we train you. We also give you a +1. So if you have a seller, we'll train them, we'll coach them. We will teach you how to make more money in today's market, in any market. We teach you sales. Yes, we give you strategy, but it's all sales. It's backed by science. It's backed by math. It's backed by my 20 years of human behavior, sales psychology background and education. It's not like what you've been taught. Okay, it's a brand new program. It's a whole new level. I've never taught this way before. It's different. So if any of this is speaking to you guys and you just want to make more money easily, especially in 2023, if you plan to hire a seller, they can come in the program at no additional cost, and we will train them for you. We'll train them, we'll coach them, we'll do that so they can help you. No one is teaching this. No one is teaching sales at this level. No one is teaching sales in this way. Everyone is just teaching you a bunch of strategy. If you really want to learn how to sell in any market, any economy, definitely either comment Sales Academy below or just send me a private message. We are letting people in right now for early enrollment. We got a bunch of bonuses. We're opening up a Slack channel this week, and we're going to get in there and do some coaching. We got some more bonus material getting leaked out. We have pre-work. We kick off January with the actual curriculum training. So definitely let me know if that's something you're interested in. You can comment Sales Academy below or just send me a private message. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you guys are going to go do some sales conversations, get some practice under your belt. And I will see you guys here next Wednesday for our sales training.